We've got some fresh.
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit.
If you'd like to know more how to turn that content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. There's a surprise in there for you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I almost slipped on that one. That was a close one.
You got it.
But today, awesome guest.
Tell me more.
Incredible topic.
Tell me more.
But we're going to be talking about how to be noisy in today's world, but the good type of noisy.
So tasty, so good. So juicy, so good. Let's go. Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see
we
about
still
that.
need to put that through a voting poll once again.
Do we have a sponsor today? Tell me.
Indeed, we do. And today's sponsor is your own The Biz Bros with Content Momentum. And if you're asking yourself, what is Content Momentum? Well, if you produce long-form content just like this one that you're listening to or watching, and you want to turn it into value-packed, bite-sized assets, so then you can share them into social media and impact more people and amplify your message. We want to help you out. Just slide in the DMs, no shame, at Biz Bros Co. on Facebook, on Instagram. We want to talk to you.
And go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button so you know when those episodes are dropping on your phone every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And follow us on social media at Biz Bros Co.
That's right. And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you will, because this one is probably going to be one of the most impactful episodes we've had so far.
That's right.
Don't forget to share it, because you never know whose life you can impact through our guest message today.
Yes.
And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Today we live in a noisy world, especially in social media where everybody wants to be loud and get other people's attention. But today's guest is noisy in the most special way. Her noise has inspired and empowered many others to live a life they won't regret.
Let me tell you, we had a 15-minute conversation with today's guest, and as soon as we were done, we just wanted to take over the world. Yes. I'm not kidding. I was so pumped up. She is a cancer survivor that is brave enough to share her truth with others and help them find and cross their own finish line. Today's
guest helps people live better and longer by making fitness understandable, attainable, and fun. She also announces the biggest and best running events around the United States of America. Not only that, she is also a book author and has worked as a spokesperson for Disney, Oakley, Tropicana, and many others.
I need to add here, she has done some incredible, amazing things. She's still doing some amazing things that they weren't mentioned in this intro, so we're gonna have to dig into those. But I'm so excited for this. Please welcome author of My Noisy Cancer Comeback, founder of Fitzness.com and The Morning Mile, which I would love to talk about that, and your next running partner, Fitz Koehler. Welcome.
Possibly my most fun intro ever.
Let's go.
Thank you.
We need to turn that possibly into the most, fun. And just saying, just throwing it out there. Fitz, wow, thank you so much for coming on. We are honored to have you here and share your message and your story, which is so powerful. Thank you, Fonzie, for making this happen. And
thank you to Larry for introducing us to Fitz.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes.
Thank you. And for those wondering, here is a book. If you are listening, go to Facebook right now and get your copy, because it's amazing. I'm halfway through it right now, and I'm telling you, like, the level of honesty in this book, it is so transparent, Fitz. And, literally, I feel like in the first 3 pages, people can already tell the type of person that you are, which is amazing.
That's nice.
And I found that funny because in the 15-minute call that we had, you shared with me such an amazing story that I was like, wow, I feel like I've known her now for 5 years, right? And I would love for you, to have that connection with the person that is listening to this right now. So, Fitz, who are you and what has inspired you in your life to do what you're doing right now?
Well, you did a good job of introducing what I do professionally. But yeah, I'm just a very noisy, happy person that likes to help others live better and longer. I'm I really truly care about people, and fitness is the way that I help, and I like to do it in a way that makes sense for people. Sometimes fitness can feel very complicated and confusing and stressful and expensive, and it doesn't have to be. So I share a lot of science. I've got a pretty impressive education that I'm very proud of, and I'm always working on learning more.
Yeah.
But I take people to a place where they understand fitness, they understand how to go about moving their body, watching what they put in their mouth, and then hopefully send them out on athletic adventures. And that's really one of the nice things about what I do, is encourage people to do more and be more. And fortunately, with my work as a race announcer, I'm able to physically be there and in a very noisy fashion tell them how proud I am of them. It's a pretty awesome experience.
Wow.
And hi, Lori and Rudy.
What's up?
That's amazing. So my brother here, he is absolutely obsessed with Tough Mudders and those type of races. Yeah. And I've been to a few with him. And honestly, one of the people that first made an impression was the announcer of the race, a person that would stand in front of everybody, and he would inspire us. And as soon as he was done, I was like, sound the horn, because I'm so ready to go. I cannot stand still here for any more time. Yeah. So how do you get to that point? I'm curious, like, what led you to want to be in front of all these people and make the good type of noise that motivates them, to start their race?
I started teaching fitness at 14, and that continuously progressed into teaching fitness on television, and then teaching small presentations, and then teaching massive presentations. And what I've found is the more the merrier. If you've got a group of 20 people together, they may feel a little awkward, hooting and hollering and getting a little rowdy. But when you put 10,000 people together, they feel extremely comfortable letting themselves go. And I really just get to play ringleader. I love to have a good time, and anything I can do, including throwing myself under the bus. I'm constantly making fun of me, which makes everybody seem to have an even better time. It helps to have no ego and, sincerely look out for the athletes in your corral. And it sounds like the guy you got to run with at Tough Mudder did it right, because quite often it's very awkward if the announcer isn't doing the right thing. And if the announcer is the right announcer, it should be an awesome experience for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And, some of my past has been in the fitness industry. I ran a few fitness studios, and, you had that 20 people group, and it is really challenging, right? Like, I never coach, I manage, but I had the coaches, right? And sometimes we had to do these events, and it's like, 5 people over here, 10 people over there, 15 over there. And it's like, oh man, like, this is something that's challenging. And sometimes, I relate it to what we do now as as entrepreneurs, right? And sometimes we have these business owners that have to corral like these audiences, right? Or their dream clients, and then talk to them, inspire them into the next decision, into like, okay, this is actually going to turn your life around. This is going to make better. So I find your message truly inspiring, because we can definitely take a lot of lessons from the fitness world into, day to day in the business side of things. So thank you for bringing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm a little curious on, I love this, right? And I'm curious about your Noisy brand, right? Because I'm reading right now the comments, and Lori here, she's like, Team Noisy is amazing. And, at the beginning of the intro, we mentioned that we live in a world that is very noisy, and people do want to be noisy, and some of them not necessarily for the best of reasons. But I find yours extremely inspiring and a very special way of being noisy, right? Again, shout out to your book. Everybody go get it, My Noisy Cancer Comeback. So I'm curious, where does that came from, the Noisy team right here?
Well, personally, I've made my entire living, almost all of it, on a microphone. And so that's where it is. I'm just constantly making noise. Sometimes it's a talking kind of noise, and more often than not, it's a big raucous type of noise. Oh, almost always a happy noise. Sometimes I get a little aggressive and poke people in the chest, but only because they need it, and usually because they want it. My other nickname is Bossy, and I make no apologies for that, because, the things I tell people to do are things that are good for them. And again, the only people I'm bossing around are people that came to me for the guidance. I'm noisy. And then Rudy Novotny's actually online watching. Hi, Rudy. Rudy is my partner in noise and race announcing. We don't always work together, but frequently we do. And I think we're pretty extraordinary as a team.
I love it.
I think he's in the book, right?
Oh, yeah. He wrote the foreword to the book, and I tell a lot of Rudy's stories. And I just couldn't be more grateful for his effort and support during my cancer battle.
That's amazing. Thank you, Rudy, if you're still listening.
As I talk to you, because this is the first time interacting with you, Fitz, like on my end, right? Like, and I feel like you know your mission. Like, you know, like, what am I here to do? I know 100%. Exactly. You're laser focused. Was it always like that?
You know, it's interesting. I started teaching fitness at 14 and I knew I loved it and I knew I wanted to help people. It didn't really dawn on me that I was going to do it as a full-time career until the end of my undergrad time. I thought I was going to go to law school. I mean, my fitness career at that point was really overshadowed by my love of my country. I couldn't be a bigger patriot. Nothing's more important to me than America. Nothing at all, period, end of story. And so I naively thought in order to serve my country, if I wasn't going into the military, I had to be a lawyer to run for office. And then once I learned that that wasn't true and law school would be a really bad fit for me, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I was young and naive. I can't explain it better than that. But I did have the revelation that I was already doing what I love to do. And Luis, you know that fitness quite often is just relegated to a job for some people. Yes. It's an hourly wage with no benefits or sick time, et cetera, no longevity. And so I decided I wanted to actually do it as a profession, make a career out of it. And I figured out how to do it on large scale in order to make a fine living that I could have a home and a car and take my kids to Disney World once a year.
Yes, let's go. When you come next time, let us know too, because like we are season pass holders. You know that. Yeah.
I'm actually very excited that we're like almost neighbors. You know.
Almost.
You're very close. Right. It's very cold today.
I know. Hopefully one day we can go for a run, but you're gonna have to take it easy on us.
Yeah. Sorry, Fonzie. Before you go into your like awesome questions, because you're the better person to do that.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to highlight that you mentioned something that you made the decision, right? A lot of people are like out there, you know, trying things out, and we were doing it for like 3, almost 4 years, right? Like Chinese object syndrome, and we're like going from here to here, like, and sometimes even in life, we don't really know exactly what we want, right? And you were like, I don't think this is going to be a fit for me because, you know, this is the way I act. This is the way that happens. I'm going to make the decision to pursue this. And then you made it happen, right? And you're like, I'm sure it was not just made it happen. I'm sure it was a lot of hard work and challenges along the way, but you persisted. You were consistent, right? And there was a bigger why with your family and your daughters and everything else. Do you remember a very specific challenge along the way that maybe was like, man, like this is it, like this is it, I'm over this, should I go back, right, to another option? Do you ever experience that?
Well, I can tell you that you're right. I have been extremely deliberate with my profession. I'm a very deliberate person. When I want something, I get something, and God help the people that get in my way. It just is no good for them. I would actually say that this year has been my most challenging year because my career revolves around mass gatherings, and it's disappeared. And I have found myself grasping for straws to try and figure out, what do I do? I lost 55 events. I lost a fortune. And so now I have the book, which is great, but I traditionally don't make a living off of the consumer. I don't even really like taking money from the consumer because I like just giving out information for free. So now I'm pivoting, and, you know, I've always done a lot of corporate speaking and so forth. So now I'm trying to, you know, reintroduce myself to corporate America and letting them know that I'm available. And that's what we do as entrepreneurs. We figure it out, right?
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, no, that is a extremely good point. Good question.
Thank you. Yes. All right. We made it. Fitz made it.
You know, Fitz, like I've obviously noticed throughout your story that you have a knack for helping others. And, you know, the first part of this question is, were you always like that? Have you always had that, you know, feeling inside of you that you want to help other people, whether that is succeed or helping them with their problems? And the other side of the question is like, you know, often a lot of people when they come into business is, and we've talked about this before, is that that greed is a little bit of a factor, right? On I want to make money, I need to make a living. For example, we were in a place of need when we started our business, right? We needed to make some money, but along the way we realized, wow, we can actually impact people, and we believe in what we do so much that now we are reaching out to people because we're like, hey, like this can really help you out. And I'm curious whether it was like that for you, or again, you started with helping the other person in mind first.
So I am very service oriented in all regards. I mean, I'm the one driving my friends around when they're sick, taking them to doctors, and I'm a caregiver. I like to take care of people. It's in my nature. However, you said one word that I'm going to do a little battle with. I do not believe the need or desire to make money is greed. It's self-preservation. It's a necessity. And when you give away a product or service without charging for it, quite often people devalue it. So if I give you a free book, you're far less likely to read it than if you spend $27.99 on the website to purchase the book. I mean, we all have these goodie bags full of crap we got at a festival handout with samples that we just leave in the corner and we don't use. And so, the trade of money for product or service actually makes the experience better, I think. So, I mean, I love serving people. That is number one. But right up there is, I have to eat. Apparently my children, they want to eat every single day.
Multiple times,
so
I'm sure.
Living, I feel good about that. It used to be hard taking checks from people, but now I feel really good about providing great services and then feeding the kids.
I love that. I love that. And sorry, I know you have a comment about this, but first, this is what we call a standing ovation.
Standing ovation,
of
yes,
course.
absolutely.
And then the other one, is it this one?
Yeah, come on, Fonzie.
Yes,
get it
this
right,
is what we call a golden boulder, because it's not even a golden nugget. It's just so big that it's a golden boulder. Yeah. And Fitz, I love this because that was actually a limiting belief that we had. We were so afraid to actually charge people, and I think at first it had to do because we weren't focused enough on exactly what we were doing.
Right.
But the belief on money itself was a very big one for us to overcome. And I agree 100% with what you said. And I think I'm actually going to start using that as well. Don't worry. I'll quote you every single time.
Okay.
But it's amazing. And why? Well, I'm going to let before asking the question, I'm going to let my brother go, because if not, he's not going to be able to talk.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we're brothers. We think the same way. I think that comment that you said was, greed versus self-preservation. And I love that when we get ideas are challenged. This is perfect. So don't worry. Whenever you feel like you need to challenge an idea, do it 100%. Yes, thank you. And I think I think that evolved into self-preservation because it's like, man, like we need this to make it happen, right? And at first it was about saying yes as much as we could, but then that allowed us to like see the bigger picture, and then it's like, okay, now we do have to focus, right? And I feel like we could have done that a little bit earlier, but that's okay. But also what Fonzie was saying about that belief, right? So I'll let you do the question in just a second, but why do you think people have so much, why do you think so many people or entrepreneurs, right, are having a hard time with that? Like, I feel like at the beginning when people start their own ventures and their own adventures, right, or they start to teaching something in exchange of money, they have a hard time at least charging something for it.
It's fear of rejection. I think very much fear of rejection. So if you, Rudy says, do what you love, the money will follow. I completely agree. If you're offering up a free service, people are far less likely to reject you, right? Yeah. But if you say, hey, I can do this for you, or you can have my product and it's going to cost you X, Y, Z, someone may say no. And what I learned very long ago, and I have a bad habit of learning the hard way. So I completely confess to being someone who's made a bunch of really dumb mistakes or had all the misconceptions, but I used to be a full contact kickboxer competitively. So I fought for about 10 years and I never feared it. I never feared walking into an arena, standing in front of thousands of people with a mouthpiece in and going toe to toe with someone who wanted to knock me unconscious. It just never crossed my mind to be afraid. However, when it came to business, I quite regularly shied away from asking for opportunities. And I had an epiphany it's a real long story short, but there was a magazine I wanted to write articles for. They kept writing articles about me and screwing them up royally, spelling my name wrong, making up information. And I wanted to write for them for years, and I was too chicken to ask. And it was just after this one incredibly brutal training session where it was me versus 4 different people. I would train. I would fight every round, and they would fight every 4th round. So as you can imagine, it was intense, and they were bigger than me and stronger than me, and I beat them all up pretty good. But
let's go.
I got in my Jeep. I left. I got in my Jeep, and I had this magazine on my passenger side seat, and I was so annoyed by it. And I thought, I wish I could just write the article. And then I thought, you dummy! If I call the editor and say, hey, can I write an article? What's the worst that can happen? And the worst that would have happened is that this guy would have said no, and which sounds like the scariest word in the world.
Yeah.
And then I thought, hey, dummy, there's no bruising, no bleeding, no broken bones involved in the word no. You do all of this really terrifying physical stuff without flinching. Why are you afraid to pick up the phone? So lesson learned. I picked up the phone, and about 10 minutes later, I called. I said, hey, Bob, it's Fitz. And he greeted me warmly. He knew exactly who I was. I said, hey, I'd really like to write an article for you guys for your next issue. He goes, oh, that would be great. How much do you want for it? I thought, oh my God, he said yes, and now he's going to give me money. And I learned at that point. Now, mind
Amazing.
you, that ugly little fear monster still creeps in on occasion. You know, I'm still making calls. I still have to do pitches and sell myself. And it feels a little rough. I don't like to sell myself. But the second I recognize I'm being a chicken, I pick up the phone and I just make it happen. I'd much rather have a no, a big, loud, angry no than to not ask for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow.
So good.
Yeah. What an amazing story. And
thank you for sharing.
That is just such a great analogy too on how we're not afraid to put ourselves in, physical harm, but internal harm we're so afraid of, right? We're so afraid of that rejection. It's so difficult.
I mean, earlier today, I was listening to a show with Eric and Joe on the on-brand stuff, and they were talking about every day we jump on a car, which is it could be a bomb. Like we see it on fuel, see it on fuel every single day, and now we're afraid of making these decisions that are not going to harm us physically, right? How crazy is that? It brings it into perspective, right? And we've mentioned this on the show many times. Like no's, and we were so afraid of taking a no. I remember Fonzie the first time went out selling on his suit and stuff, and he's like, oh my God, why did they say no? Like, this is gonna be horrible, right? But now we take him as samples, and it's just a nudge in the right direction. We're like, okay, no here, okay, sweet, let me go here, and like, no, okay, another nudge, right?
I actually prefer getting a no. Like, if I get a no now, I prefer that than not asking, because if I don't ask, I have that feeling inside that is like,
it's
what
already
if,
a no.
is the what if, right? I have that uncertainty inside. But if they say no, at least I don't have that anymore, and I'm like, okay, like I feel like I still move a step forward if they say no.
Yeah, with life, with work, and with cancer, I made all decisions on the path of least regrets. And that's how, I feel like I'm going to continue operating moving forward is, will I regret not doing this? If so, then I have to. I have no choice.
Man.
That's amazing. I love that path of least regret. I'm definitely going to adopt that life philosophy as well. Thank you, Fitz.
It's so awesome.
And like this no thing, right? This fear that we have inside, those are all self-limiting beliefs that we all have, right? In a way. Yeah. And we've seen that actually on the content side. For us, at first, we spent 3 years knowing that we had to, to put it in your words, be noisy, to share our message, yet we didn't do it, right? We were so afraid of either people judging us or rejecting us. We were just putting up story in our head that didn't even exist. Yeah. And now I can see that in other aspects of life as well. I'm like, wow, these self-beliefs are just like so ingrained in our hearts, literally. So how do you go about pushing other people to, crush those self-beliefs? And especially, and I think this is a good point, because again, I think this is a good moment for you to actually share with everybody what the morning mile is, because I feel like you're helping all those people as well, right? All those kids, get rid of their own self-beliefs.
Right. So, with adults, I do a lot of poking in the chest, and I'm quite aggressive about it. And I have carte blanche to be aggressive because the people that I'm working with know I love them. So I get in their face and, I tell them the truth. It's always a combination of science and rationale, right? I'm not ever saying anything that's really far-fetched or cranky. I just got to say, hey, pay attention. And, and they agree. With children, gosh, I just love kids so much like people love puppies, and I do love the puppies, but I love kids desperately. And the second I started teaching fitness, I also started volunteering to teach fitness to Girl Scout troops and youth athletics. So it's just always been on my heart. But I think it's important now to get to children before they become 30 and overweight and think, oh crap, what do I do now? Fitness is actually quite simple. I say I have a master's degree in the most simple, stupid science in the world, but it really is not a whole heck of a lot more than move your body awesome, watch what you put in your mouth, get plenty of sleep, and remove the cranky people from your life. So we can teach them that at a young age that, hey, you could just wake up and go for a walk or a run around your block, doesn't need any skill, any fancy equipment. And then you never have to deal with weight issues, and you never have to deal with diabetes or heart disease or blood pressure, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's important to do that. And clearly not every parent has the know-how to raise healthy children. So, the Morning Mile has given me access to 400 schools around the world.
Wow.
And hundreds of thousands of children who have completed millions and millions of miles. And, the success stories I know about are extraordinary. The success stories I don't know about thrill me even more.
Wow.
So
talk about impact, right? First of all.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for all that you do, because clearly, and we talk about the hourglass effect, like, you impact one person and then that one person is going to turn around and how many others. So thank you so much. That's so needed.
Yeah. For those listening, that's another upside of being noisy and sharing your message and going for what you want.
Now,
and my vision is although I love helping individuals, my entire career is laser focused on mass impact. So I do very few things that help only one person. And when we talk about content, my efforts are almost exclusively done in a way where many people can absorb the information. So the book is an example. My YouTube channel, when I'm on national television, by 8 a.m., I've reached a couple million people. When I'm at races, I hit thousands or tens of thousands. And so what feeds my soul is huge amounts of people and relaying at least one thing that providing them with a tool they could use to live better and longer.
I love it, because all this is fueled by that one desire, right? And then you're like, okay, how do I actually get to million people? And then, okay, I need to go to TV. Yep. Perfect. Let's go to TV.
I hunt them down. And I'm like, hey, pay attention to me.
And that's great. I mean, we have this hashtag called #tableface in Venezuela. In Venezuela, it's cara tabla in Spanish, and it's like, meaning it's like go after what you want, go ask for it, right? And I love this, because you are literally impersonation of #tableface, which we love, and it's not a physical change. It's like it's more of a state, right?
I think it's a state of being.
A state of being, yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So take it, table face.
Thank you. Now, with obviously your mission and what you do, and like this, the Morning Mile, for example, you are creating an environment, right? And I'm very curious, right? Because when people are in like the ideal environment for them, like that's when they thrive too, right? And you're like that voice that leads that environment. How important has an environment been for your personal development and to your community, right?
You know what? I feed off of the community I'm engaged in. It's interesting with runners. Runners aren't just the typical runners we imagined from 1978. And they're all in their little skimpy dolphin shorts and high socks. Runners right now actually include millions and millions of walkers. And when I announce, I'll use LA Marathon for an example. We had 27,000 registered runners this year.
Beautiful.
Maybe 1 or 2% run the race exclusively, but there's about 90% of the people that do a combination of walking and running in various degrees. And then there's a good 8 to 10% who do only walking. And I love them so much. I love our speedsters. I love the people in the front.
Yes.
We call them the elites or the pros, and they're impressive. No doubt. I give them all the credit in the world. But the people that make me a better person, the people I cannot wait to see finish the race, are the back of the packers. They're overweight.
Oh,
they're all their joints are wrapped up with 82 pounds of some sort of tape, and they're 90, or there's all these reasons why they shouldn't have even shown up at the start line, but they did. And the second they show up at the start line, I become their best friend, or at least I feel like it. I feel like, oh, I love them. That's my favorite person in the world. And I can point to them all and go tell you exactly why I love each of them. And so as they make their way to the finish line, you know, my praise, my welcome becomes more and more sincere, because I truly admire these people. It's just being around them gives me a much higher standard to live up to.
That's amazing. I just remember a story. You literally just remember of a story I feel like I forgot, and it just represents exactly what you said. Our first Tough Mudder run, I don't think I don't know if you remember that. It was actually here in Jacksonville. At the moment, I was living in Texas. And my brother's like, hey, there's this amazing run. Let's go do it. It's like 12 miles. I'm like, dude, I've never run that much in my life, but let's go. Let's do it. It's going to be fun,
Nobody wanted to come with me, Fitz. Nobody. I asked legit like 30 people, and they're like, no, man, like, that's crazy. Don't
talk about rejection right there.
I know.
Howard.
And so I came here. We do the race, and we had a blast, right? And the first people supporting each other. And I was like, wow, this is so motivational. And when we crossed the finish line, this person was like, hey, we still have people on the course, and would you like to volunteer in one of the obstacles? And we're like, yes, of course. Just tell us which one. And there's this obstacle called the Everest, which is pretty much like
a big ramp going up.
Yeah, it's like
very
a ramp.
Slippery, right?
And you have to run and pretty much climb it, just like hold yourself and then push yourself up.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So we were there, and we helped everybody that was left. And then we were waiting for like 30 minutes. Nobody came. We were waiting for like 45 minutes. Nobody came. And we told the guy, hey, is the race over? We don't see anybody. It's like, no, there's one more person in the course.
Now the race is just getting good.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so good.
And we were like, wow, there's still someone out there. Awesome. Let's just wait for them, right? And I remember I see the person coming around the curve, and it was someone that you wouldn't imagine in a race, right? And I don't intend to sound mean. It was someone that was overweight. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Someone just came to this event. I can't even imagine, you know, the challenge that she was facing inside, and all the thoughts about quitting probably halfway through the race, yet she still made it to the very last obstacle. And when she had the option to go around it, and she was like, no, I'm going to do it. And it was like 5 of us volunteering, and we're like, and we're going to help you do it, right? Like, is that what you're talking about? That spirit, that environment, right there. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
And we managed to help her over the Everest, right? And she was so grateful. She went on, she finished the race. And I think, I don't know how I forgot about that story, but that is literally... that embodies the power of environment, right? Because something that I learned lately is that motivation, even though the feeling of being motivated is amazing, it's a little bit unreliable, because in the morning we wake up all excited to go out for a run, but then night hits and we're like, oh, I'm tired, right? But if you surround yourself with people that are going to push you to the next level, and they're like, let's go, let's do it, then you are going to go and cross that finish line as well.
Well, professionally, I can tell you that last year when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and which is terrifying, absolutely terrifying, and it just terrifying is probably the best word I could use.
Yeah.
And you're confused and you're just not sure what's going to happen. I made the decision right away that I was not going to miss my races. So I knew I was going to be in for mega doses of chemo and mega doses of radiation and some surgeries, which all is horrible sounding. And we know what happens to a lot of people with chemo. But there's actually on my social media sites, there's a video. It's called I Have Breast Cancer, and it's on Fitzness.com and my social Fitzness on Facebook. But I look back at that video, and there I was with still my long golden locks, and I'm staring into the camera telling people, listen, I've got this disease. I'm going to be fine. I don't want your pity. You can root for me, but I am not missing my races. I am not missing my events. I'm going to show up. I'm going to perform as expected, and I'm going to be fine. And so it was kind of cute because I was so naive. I had no idea what was actually going to go on with my treatment and my health, but I didn't miss a race. I never missed a flight. I never missed an event. I never missed an opportunity to stand at a finish line, hug thousands of strangers, or run back and forth those finish lines. I was sick as a dog, but I was fueled by my community. I would spend the night on the hotel bathroom floor, sick. And then my alarm would go off at 4 a.m. and I'd put on my little race announcer outfit and go onto my stage. And no matter how sick I was, the second I stood on that stage, it was like someone flipped my on switch and I had all this runner fueled go-go juice, adrenaline. And then I got to perform at a pretty high level. I don't think anyone around me thought I missed a beat. And that's because my community was so extraordinary. The profession I chose, the profession I created was that of my dreams. So it matters that you choose a career you love and to do it with people you love.
Yes. Wow. I mean, I do believe that that's the only way that you can operate like that, right? Like what's going to get you up? Are you excited? We get to do this. Like we get to get up and help people. Like you get to get up and make a massive impact, right? So I
would have
love
been devastated had I missed any. Been devastated if I missed 5 minutes of any of my events.
Yes,
they're that good.
So good.
That's impressive.
We need to sign up for the next race that you're going to be there. And we're going to be like, let's go.
Of course, everybody does.
Yes, we need to for sure.
Yeah, that's it. We're family now. As we wrap up the show.
Wait, real quick. Sorry, real quick. I just want to make here a comment because I know a lot of people that are listening right now. Right, you might find yourself in the online world, right? And people have a tendency in the online world to try to do things by themselves. And it's not like you're going into a room and, hanging with a bunch of people trying for them to push you forward. So it is important for you to go out there and actually be a part of a community. Find a community that's going to support your goals and that they're going to push you forward as well. We were that type of people. When I started into the digital world, Fitz, I'm not kidding. My own thought was, I'm going to make money sitting in the couch in my underwear. How fun is that, right? Like, I'm not going to have to deal with anybody.
Right?
Exactly.
To Fitch is like, no, that doesn't sound fun at all.
Exactly. But that was my thought process. I'm like, I don't have to deal with other people, right? And the more I dove into the online world, guess what? I learned that community is just, if not the most important pillar, one of the most important pillars out there.
Yeah, and if you don't have a professional community, so maybe there are people that just work in an isolated fashion, and that can be okay as long as you have another community waiting for you, whether it's your CrossFit gym or your knitting club or your, We Love Animals group, whatever it is. It's important to have some people in your life, and it matters. People matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Now, Fitz, what would be like your number one action point to get people? I mean, you probably said so many, obviously, through the show and in your life. But is there a one action point that you would tell like somebody that you just met?
So let's do that in two categories because I want, first in the fitness category, what would be your action point for people? And then in their noisy category, right? In being noisy out in the world and share their message, what would be that action point?
So, action point, advice, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it could be advice. Yeah,
advice.
Okay.
Yes.
So as far as fitness goes, y'all just have to stop making excuses. There are almost none that are valid. So if you were in a body cast today, fine. But if both of your legs are broken, not okay. You can still do something cool with your upper body. There's always an opportunity to do something to become better, and you should do that thing. As far as in the noisy category, advice for noisy people?
For people that maybe are a little bit afraid of sharing their message, and impacting other people with their own experience.
Yeah, I would fear never speaking my mind. I think that is a much greater risk to you individually. If you vanish tomorrow, I just had one of my very good friends pass away. She had an aneurysm, and perhaps, thankfully for for her and her family. She was a very successful woman who was a contributor, and she did everything she wanted. She had a life well lived.
Yeah.
But what if it all ended tomorrow and you hadn't spoken your mind?
Oh.
What if you just kind of faded away and never made your mark? I think that's terrifying. So again, keep in mind, if there's no bleeding, no broken bones, no bruising involved, go for it. Failure is guaranteed if you do not try.
Oh, so good.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. And of course, we're sorry to hear about your friend.
Thank you.
But thank you so much. It has been beyond inspiring. And I hope you consider us now part of your community as well. We are so excited.
Yes, we're going to have to get together. We're so close. 2 hours away. That's nothing.
Yeah, that's nothing. It's a little road trip. Now, Fitz, last question, probably favorite question. Where will you be? And I'm going to reframe this a little bit, right? Where will you be if you did not make noise?
There's no possible way I wouldn't be making noise. It's an impossible thing. Yeah, that place doesn't exist.
Is that ingrained in you? Is that? I mean, that's you then. That's like
I know exactly who I am, and I'm very noisy. I am very bossy. I'm very committed to what I do. So there is no place where I am not noisy.
I love it. Wow. Yes. Thank you for sharing that with us. You know, we get to do this. We get to connect with people like you. So if you're listening right now, if you're watching, like, I encourage you, find that message, test it out, be loud, be noisy, find your community, your environment. So many good lessons today. It has been a pleasure. Before
you ask that, I also want to encourage people to go and connect with Fitz and get her book. My Noisy Cancer Comeback.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to be like, hey, Fitz, where can people find you?
Okay. There we go. So ideally, they'll go directly to Fitzness.com. That's Fitzness.com. And that's, I'm just everywhere there. That's your saturation of Fitz Koehler. But you can definitely get the book there. If you buy a book at Fitzness.com, you get a special gift with purchase, and I sign every last one of them. Books available in hardcover, paperback, audiobook, ebook, and if you don't buy it on Fitzness.com, it's also available everywhere else books are sold. And then please connect with me on social media.
Yes.
At Fitzness on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And don't just follow, reach out and say hi, because I love making new friends.
I love it. And guys, again, I encourage you. She put a super nice note in my book, and I was so excited when I opened it and I saw it. So it's definitely a super special touch.
We're going to leave all the links right in the description. All you got to do is scroll down, click in there, go connect, buy the book, get your signature in that book. Amazing.
And then join us all in the next race.
Yes. So good. So good. Well, with that, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media at BizBrosGo.
And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Bye, guys.